Your actions have changed the world.
Hello, and welcome back to the world of assassination and the trending contracts. And today's contract, Kill, set in Whittleton Creek, and the contract ID is on the screen now for anyone who wishes to have a crack at it, and has been supplied to us today courtesy of Piffy Mitt 4. So on to our briefing, short and sweet, end this muffin. So moving on to our targets, and today we have 5 of them with no stipulations on how we dispatch them or what we wear whilst we do so, and we cannot be recorded as our objective. So for today's challenge, we'll be starting at the default location. We're going to have a lethal syringe stored up in the park shed, and we'll be bringing with us a micro remote taser, our ever trusty lockpick, and a silenced pistol. So right from the start and off the bat, the first thing we're going to do is go and retrieve our lethal syringe from the shed, and we will then make our way straight over to our targets, who are all nicely grouped together. So once we're in the shed, through the back window, grab our lethal syringe. We're now going to make our way over to the muffin stand, and the reason we're using the lethal syringe here is that this kill can go horribly wrong. So once we're by the muffin stand, we're going to turn on the radio, turn it off again. That will attract the attention of our first target. Now we could just pounce on him and break his neck, but people will hear that and people could possibly see it. So we're just going to inject him with the poison when he arrives for an accident poison kill. So 1 target down, and we're going to now move on to our remaining 4 targets, who are all grouped together in Helen West's house. And we'll start with the matriarch of the property herself. So we're just going to hop over the fence, lockpick our way into the basement here, and in here we're going to approach the sink, and we're just going to drop our micro taser straight on the floor and overflow the sink. And eventually Helen West will come down here, but we're going to actually try and lure her down here a little bit sooner. So I'm just going to take out that light there, not necessary at all, but I don't want to be illuminated while I'm hiding. So we're going to make our way up the basement stairs and lockpick our way into the house, and we're going to try and trigger a conversation between Helen West and one of her workers here. Now this doesn't always work out. In this case it hasn't, because Helen West is currently on the phone to Janus, even though the phone is in the living room. So I don't know how she's managing that conversation, but we're gonna just make our way downstairs and we'll wait for Helen West to finally arrive, which will take a couple of minutes real time. But when she gets to the bottom of the stairs, she will notice the overflowing sink, and when she comes in to investigate, all we have to do is activate our taser, and she will get quite a shocking experience. So down she goes. Usually she throws a leg up and basically launches herself onto the floor, but not today. And if Helen West is down here, then usually her colleague who she was chatting to in the kitchen will have left the area. So we're going to make our way around to the door to the garage, and we'll just await the return of the muffin server. He's going to come in and stand just by that big cake there, and when he moves away he's going to make himself isolated in the corner of the room, and at that point we're going to shoot him in the head. So that's your cue, sir, if you would care to move off to your left for us and making yourself nicely available. Thank you very much. So once he makes his way over to the cupboards there, we can just pop him in the back of the head. We are going to hide his body. We could leave him there, but his body potentially could be found when we eliminate our final target. So just to be safe rather than sorry, we're going to deposit him in the freezer in the garage. So we're going to go and start setting up our next kill, and that will be an accident explosion, and for this we require a propane cylinder. So we're going to make our way along the street and into the garden of the house with the boat outside. I can't remember whose house this one is. They do all have names, or names of owners. This one I don't actually remember. So we're going to make our way around to the rear of the property, grab the propane cylinder from next to the barbecue, and then giving Janus's house a nice wide berth, we're going to make our way back to Helen West's house, just as one of our targets here is leaning against the fence, and even though we're in a bush, he nearly sees us. IO have been fixing many things on this game and breaking many more in the process. So once our friend there has moved away, we can then throw our propane cylinder over by the shed, and we can then make our way in through the window, and as you can see, nearly being spotted again through a wall. And our next target will make his way into the bathroom, and at that point we can reintroduce him to his breakfast or lunch, depending on what time of day it is. So that's 4 targets taken care of, and we have just our remaining gentleman left. And I am going to try and detonate the propane cylinder from the kitchen, as this guy seems to be able to see through walls. We wasn't quite able to line up a shot while he was there. While he has his back to us, again, he can still see us, although we are stood in front of a window this time and he doesn't actually have his back to us. So we're going to abandon that, and we're going to go for the safer option of hopping out the kitchen window here, and when our target goes back to the shed, he does now have his back to us finally. We can line up our shot with the propane cylinder, and when he goes back over to look over whatever is there, we can then blow up the cylinder and eliminate our target. So that's all of our targets taken care of. All that's left for us to do now is to make good our escape, and the nearest safe exit will be the bus stop exit, just as our friend here has been found, which will lead other people into the area in a panic mode, which is why we hid the muffin server in the freezer. So there we go, one more trending contract taken care of. Quite an enjoyable one when we aren't being half spotted in bushes and through walls, but we managed to get there in the end, and we eliminated all of our targets according to plan. We met our objective, and we got our silent assassin rating. I have been Anubis, and I will see you all in the next video.